My name is Timothy John Nicklas. I'm 26 years old, and I don't know. Let me think. You farted.
I did not fart. I did not.
Sounds like you farted. Sounds like somebody farted. I did not fart. I was the subject of a kidnapping when I was 9 years old, and then I woke up. The most impactful event in my life, I'd say, was getting married. Moving into marriage, it adds a lot of responsibility and a lot of growth. I feel like you're kind of thrown into being more mature, and it's awesome. Like I completely love marriage, and I'm so lucky to be married to Julie. I have a very animated face. I feel like I can do a lot with my face. I feel like I don't utilize my face enough. I'd say another really impactful event or thing on my life was my mentor in high school. I grew up in a Christian home. I had great parents, a great family. I also played ice hockey all growing up, and so I'd say two things that really crafted my identity quite a bit growing up were both Christianity and being a hockey player. Like when people would talk to me or like when they'd make conversation with me, typically it was more like they'd think of me as a hockey player, and that was coming like more my identity than anything else. And so one thing that was really impactful to me was as I started doing that more and more and started being able to make it to church less and less, and my friend connections at youth group weren't as impactful as they had been in the past. I had a youth leader, Chris Thornton, who he really seemed to go after like the people that were kind of coming late, leaving early, or like the irregular crowd, and really seeking after those people specifically. And I was one of them, and I'd say like his influence on my life and impact on my life has really changed the trajectory of my life. I'm not sure who I would be if it wasn't for how he intervened in my life, but I just know that I'm glad he did, because I'm really glad of the different ways he influenced me. I hate mushrooms. I think they taint all foods. You add a mushroom to something and it just absorbs all of the taste and leaves like a numbness in your mouth. I love music. I love most music, except country. I don't know if that's considered music. I guess it is, but I'm not a big fan. And when looking at Jesus' examples and the things that, like reading about what he did, a lot of times it's like when you're trying to mirror his image, it's like, man, that's crazy. Like those are huge standards to live by. Paul in Corinthians writes, be like me as I'm like Christ. I thought that was that's a really intriguing thing to say, like, hey, follow my example because like I'm living like Christ is. And to me, Chris was that to my life. Like I could be like Chris because he was reflecting a life like Jesus, where he would just give everything, literally everything for us, all of his free time. He invested not only his time, his money, but that was hugely impactful to my life. One of the hardest things I've ever experienced was moving to North Carolina. It was just completely all the newness of it. We had just gotten married 2 weeks before. We were going out there without jobs, without a place to live, and there was a lot of stress involved in that. We weren't close to any of the people that were going out there. In Portland, I'd graduated a few months before and I still hadn't found a job, and we were gonna be looking for a place and a job anyway. So it seemed like, hey, we could just look out there, especially because we really felt like God was telling us we should go out there. Felt like he kept sending us like certain messages to both me and Julie individually, and then we'd talk about it and we'd be like, man, like that's really lining up with going to North Carolina. And it really felt like, hey, that's what we need to do with our life. And it got to the point where we were like, man, it is like unknown. Like we don't know what we're gonna do out there, but at the same time, we really feel like God's sending us out there. And we don't wanna always look back on this moment and be like, man, what would have happened if we went out there? We had to rely on each other. Like I'd say it strengthened our relationship because I feel like it just brought us closer as a couple. I mean, we'd been dating for over 5 years when we got married, and so we were already really comfortable with each other and like trusting of each other, but it just forced that to be even stronger. We weren't getting jobs right away, so we had those second guesses, and then God blessed us financially in a couple of crazy ways that we were just completely blindsided by, and it was kind of getting those. It's like, wow, God really wants us to be doing this. He's really he's really into this for us. And we got to the point out there where we felt like, you know, we've been out here for 8 months. Originally, we were like, hey, we're just going to be out here through our lease, but then we both got jobs that we both really loved, and we're like, no, we want to stick around longer, and so we stayed longer, and it got to the point where we felt like, hey, what we did here, like coming out here for God, like now it's like that's done, like we did that, and now God's like, hey, you guys can do what you want. Like if you want to move back to Portland, great. If you want to stay here, great. And we both felt that inside, and so we both missed Portland and decided to come back. I love Portland. I love the culture of Portland. I love how many food spots there are in Portland. I love having the gorge so accessible. I love all the hikes, the trails. It really is the most beautiful place in the U.S. And I can say that because I've been all over the U.S. Twice. I've driven all over the U.S. My favorite weather in Portland is like the overcast, kind of rainy. Like sunny days are great, you know, you can get the good views, but there's something about a overcast, rainy day that just energizes me. I'd say one of the things that excites me the most is helping people. Growing up, I always loved volunteering. Like I do a bunch of volunteering work at my church. I'd volunteer for all sorts of things when those opportunities came up. That's just how I'm wired, that's how I'm made. But something that I've realized with the different companies I've worked for, so I've worked for 3 like, you know, real companies, like doing like business type work. And the first company I worked for, they had the coolest mission and vision. And when I went to my job, I was excited because what we were doing, I knew was having a positive impact on the world. And then the next job I had a lot harder time, like, you know, waking up and going to it, just because there wasn't that tie-in for me. And I realized like that's what I'm missing, like helping people, like that's what I really care about. And whatever I'm doing with my life, like whatever I'm investing my time in, I want to make sure it's something that's actually like changing the world and impacting it in a positive way. With my new job, we're doing that. We're changing people's lives. We're literally helping people. We're taking them from their current job situation, if they're not, you know, making enough to live sustainably. We're giving them the skill set to be able to, you know, get into a better paying job and get into a better living standard. And it's cool because I can actually go to my job. I can read about it from people tweeting at us, being like, literally, you guys changed my life, like completely. I was doing this and now I'm doing this. Thank you so much. And it's just like the most rewarding feeling knowing that you're doing something that is helping others. That's what I love. Don Miller said that when explaining your life story, you should talk about the problem in the world that you're trying to solve. I do not know what the problem in the world that I'm trying to solve is yet, but it was really awakening to me, the fact that that whole idea, that's what you should know, and that I didn't know that. And so from the time I was first told that I was doing this video till now, I was thinking like, man, what's the problem that I'm trying to solve? And I'm still trying to figure that out. I know a couple things that have come out to me as far as things that I want to be pursuing more. I mean, helping others, like I said, was something that I'm really passionate about. But really crafting that in a way to help others. One way that I was largely impacted was through mentorship. And like I said, I'm always trying to learn new things. And so one thing that I want to refocus on and make sure I'm doing is being able to mentor others and help others. I mean, I'm definitely someone that's still growing. I always try to be ready to learn in any circumstance. You know, no matter who I'm talking to, I want to make sure that I'm not coming from a place where I'm like, hey, I know more than this person, so what they're saying doesn't matter that much to me. I always want to be at a point where I can be influenced and my thoughts be changed by others. I've always wanted to go to Iceland. For some reason, even before I knew Iceland was like this beautiful, cool place to go, I thought it just sounded really cool. And I wanted to go there because it was like a small island in Europe that not many people went to. And in a few months, I'm going to Iceland and Switzerland and Austria, and I'm stoked. When I was little, I thought that the Pacific Ocean was the specific ocean, and that always tripped me up.